Hi, everyone. A very warm welcome to this session of Let Us Talk It ZIPINAR, where we have tried to make the best, to try to give the best that we can from whatever we try to do for the community to make it empowered, to make it more interactive and all inclusive. And with that, we have our thought for the ZIPINAR, where we invite three speakers who would be speaking in three different areas. And then you would definitely gain something after you have spent that time with us. So welcome everyone who has joined in on social media. And our only goal here is to make an informed and empowered community. And for that, we definitely need your help. So if you have come across this webinar as known as ZIPINAR, then please do forward the link with other colleagues, family members, friends, and we can grow the community in the way we, want an ideal community in the long run. So a little bit about Let Us Talk It webinars. We have these webinars, professional webinars, covering motivational, IT, health, different kinds of topics. As I said, three topics usually in a span of just a little more than 1 hour, and on every Wednesday from 12 to 1 p.m. EST, and India time from 10:30 to 11:30 p.m. EST. And you can get more information, or if you want to be a speaker or you know anyone who could be a speaker, please email us at webinar@letustalkit.com. And we also do have our youth sessions divided into two groups, a younger group session from 6 years to 11 years, and then the older one from 12 years onwards. And we have those webinars. The younger group has alternate Fridays, and the older group has, we have it for on Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. EST. And for this week, we have the older group webinar with the topic about virtues and values. So if you have a kid and you want to gain something or make friends online with these panelists who are very enthusiastic and quite well informed, then please do email us at webinar@letustalkit.com, or you can even check our website, letustalkit.com, and youth/youth, and you can register there as well. So, but today is our ZIPINAR, and we have all our three speakers with us. The first topic that we have is thoughts to results, achieve any goal. Understand the mindset of high performers and the secrets they use to achieve their goals every time. And to talk about this, we have Anish Verma, who is a co-founder of an AI company and is a high performance mindset coach. He has worked in the corporate world for 22 plus years and now helps entrepreneurs and executives achieve their goals. He is a certified John Maxwell coach and public speaker. He has developed an interesting viewpoint of how science and psychology are used by high performers to achieve success. So he shares all his research in his podcast, Empower Your Mind for Success, available on all platforms, including Apple, Spotify, Google, Breaker, and others. And to have one-to-one conversation, you can join a Zoom link. And we are extremely honored to have you, Anish. Over to you.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you for the kind introduction. And obviously, thanks for having me. I'll start sharing my screen as I speak. And, you already provided the introduction, so we don't need to spend any more time there. Just that, I do come from a IT consulting, management consulting background and can relate to your audience, hopefully even more better now with the topic that I wanted to cover. So we'll get right into it. I know I have approximately 20 minutes, so we'll try to stay true to that time, and we'll take any questions as we go along. But I'm based out of Detroit, guys. I've lived here for a long time now in the US, and you know, uh, entrepreneurship is something that I'm very, very passionate about. But I'm even more passionate about mindset, and I'm trying to answer one basic question: why certain people are more successful than the others, right? That is that question really inspires me to find answers, find more about myself, and help my clients and peers. So what I wanted to do today for this topic, I have about 10 slides, and I wanted to cover, basically the scientific principles that all high performers, executives, entrepreneurs, athletes use to achieve what they want to. And these are scientific principles, so they apply to anybody the same way. There is no discrimination. So you guys can learn this and apply it as well. But I wanted to start with the context first, right? And the context is you get what you desire. Um, you might have heard the Chinese proverb, "Be careful what you wish for." That's a very scientific proverb. A lot of people brush it off because it is ancient, but it is true. And your desires are your thoughts, your wishes, right? So that is what you need to be aware of and understand. And we all need to understand the point that God does not create junk. Whether you believe in God or a supernatural energy out there, we have been created, engineered, and been put on this planet Earth. And God does not create junk, which means we are all born with equal potential. Of course, we have some genetic memory and hereditary factors that we need to be aware of. But our upbringing, our environment, our friends, our authority figures in our life have a major impact on what kind of a life we live and who we become in our life. So, to deepen the context a little bit before I can share some of the secrets that the high performers use, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how our mind works. Now, we all have seen a human brain, but nobody has seen a mind, because mind doesn't exist that you can touch and feel. It's an intangible. But our brain, we all have the same brain. We all have the same hardware. But in 1936, Dr. Thurman Fleet created a picture of the mind, and the mind is basically represented in this circle. The top half is the conscious mind. It resides in your neocortex part of the brain, and your subconscious mind is your emotional mind, which resides in the limbic brain. If you guys are fans of Simon Sinek and have seen his Start With Why videos, he explains this very well about the neocortex and the limbic brain. But Dr. Thurman Fleet presented this picture of a mind, and since then everybody represents mind with this picture. Now, it is important for us to understand that the thoughtful mind, the neocortex, which is also the conscious mind, is very analytical. It is single threaded. It cannot multitask, and has limited capacity. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, has unlimited capacity, can multitask, doesn't understand language, but it understands emotions, feelings, and it is a slave to the commands given to it through the conscious mind. Okay, and because it is infinite capacity, it can achieve whatever you want it to achieve, provided you can be focused. The job of your conscious mind basically is to attract the thoughts in your mind. It's basically your awareness resides in your conscious mind. 5% of the decisions that we make in our lives are made through the conscious mind, which means that 95% of the decisions are made through subconscious mind. And why that is very important for you to understand is you will figure that out as I go along in this presentation. But what resides in your subconscious mind? Your perceptions, your opinions, your beliefs, habits, rituals, culture, all these things reside in your subconscious mind. And because subconscious mind has an unlimited capacity, we do a lot of decision making through our subconscious mind. I'll give you a couple of examples. When you wake up in the morning and brushing your teeth is the first ritual you have, you don't think about how you're going to brush your teeth. You just go about doing it, right? You don't think that I'm going to move my hand left first, now right, left, right. You don't do that. When you're wearing your clothes, you don't think about wearing clothes. When you're driving to your job, at least when we did that pre-COVID times, sometimes you reached your office within a few minutes, even though the distance is an hour. You just realize, oh, I quickly reached the office. Why? Because all those commands, all those thoughts are in your subconscious mind, and you're doing it in autopilot mode. So the more you leverage your subconscious mind to do the heavy lifting in your life, the more easier will become for you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And this is what the high performers know, and they train their subconscious mind through habits, through discipline, through inspiration, through thoughts, and they go about doing it. Now, what I have come up with based on my research over the last 4 or 5 years, I've come up with this raft model, and I'll explain to you what the raft model is. But this raft model basically talks about how you can get from thoughts to results. And this raft model is spelled backwards, or I should say, starts with the end in mind, right? So raft stands for results, actions, feelings, and thoughts. Okay. Humans are engineered to be goal oriented mechanisms. I mean, and this is true at a cellular biological level as well. We are a colony of more than 50 trillion cells, and each cell that they're made of are all trying to achieve more, grow more, seek more. Okay, so we humans are designed to achieve goals. So when people lose their vision, lose their purpose, they end up living a life of mediocrity. That is why always people say that, having goals is very important. Most of you guys work in IT, so you may know you cannot build an application without understand the requirements, right? You need to know what the requirements are, what is the end goal of building an application. The same thing works with your life. If you don't know what your goal is, your purpose is, we will struggle, right? And by the way, this raft model, it works for achieving any kind of goal. Materialistic goal, which would be building a house, acquiring money, making millions of dollars. Relationship goals, finding the love of your life. It could be spiritual goals. It doesn't matter. Your subconscious mind doesn't discriminate. It doesn't understand good or bad. Your conscious mind understands good or bad, but your subconscious mind doesn't. Now, one thing I want to mention is that when we are growing up, um, children don't have a conscious mind up to the age of 9 to 10. So whatever children hear from parents, whether it is verbally said or through visual cues, they accept and they learn. um, that is why children believe in tooth fairies, Santa Claus. They trigger the same neurons in their brain, whether they are actually doing a task or just thinking about it. Okay, it's a very scientifically proven model. Now what that means is, if they don't have a conscious mind and whatever they hear they believe in, the first few years of our lives basically sets the tone of the rest of our life, if we are not conscious about it to change it later in our lives. Okay, and the subconscious mind doesn't have a delete button or a backspace button. So whatever you hear, feel, touch gets into your subconscious mind. The only thing you can do to your subconscious mind is to dilute the negative impacts of some of the beliefs you may have, limiting beliefs you may have about yourself. Okay, so there are various ways and mechanisms to dilute the negatives and fill yourself with positives. But all these principles are scientific based. So let us get into the raft model a little bit, and I'll explain somewhat about each of these items, and we'll start from thoughts because that is where it starts from. Um, so thoughts are a form of energy. And I want you to pay very specific attention to this because energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Okay. So when you have a thought, you always say, I have a thought. You have an idea. We never say we made a thought, we made an idea. Why? Because you can never make energy, right? So thought is a form of energy. The only thing that you need to do to attract the right thoughts is to be goal oriented, to be conscious of what you want to achieve in life, and be willing to learn, right? Energy flows from a higher source to a lower source. If you consider yourself as a lower source in terms of knowledge, energy and thoughts and ideas will flow to you. You need to be open and willing to learn your thoughts to attract the right thoughts, right? Thoughts are conscious. You have to think about them. But once you think about thoughts multiple times, they become your belief patterns and your decision-making framework. We all make decisions in our subconscious mind emotionally first, and then justify it logically through our conscious mind. So thoughts are very, very important. And that's why, the Chinese proverb, be careful what you wish for, because what you wish for, what you think about, you will get in your life, whether you like it or not. Now, The thoughts, when thought again and again and again, become your feelings, right? They become your habits, they become your belief patterns, and all these things get stored in your subconscious mind. The neurons in your brain get triggered, and the pathways become stronger and stronger the more you think about it. So I will give an example. Most of us have grown up in nice average families. If you grew up in an average family in the world, you have heard no, the word no 77% of the time, even if you grew up in a nice, healthy, average family. So if you heard no 77% of your time, your entire childhood, you believe more in the no than in the yes. So whenever you're trying to do something new, you're saying, maybe I'm not capable of doing it. Maybe I don't have the right skills. Why? And you believe in that more because it's in your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind, 95% decisions are made. So think about this, right? If there's a tug of war and there are people standing on either side of the rope, there are 5 people standing on one side and 95 people standing on other side. Which side will win, you think? The 95 people side. So that is why it is very difficult to override your beliefs and change your mindset about yourself that you can achieve something, right? That is why you have to be intentional and conscious about what you want to achieve, and you will be able to achieve that. Humans, like I said, make decisions through subconscious mind. This is very, very important. Your thoughts become your beliefs. So what you think becomes your reality. So you have to be very careful about what you think, what kind of social media, what kind of television, what kind of friends you expose yourself to, and the environment that you are in, because that is going to decide your future. Now, these feelings will provoke you to take actions. Thoughts don't provoke you to take actions, but the feelings do, right? The feelings will force you to take action. And when you are taking action, you do not seek permission. You do not have to seek permission, but because we grew up in an environment where we are always seeking permission from our parents, from our elders, from our teachers, from our bosses, we always get into a mindset of seeking permission. That is one thing that high performers teach themselves, that you don't need permission. You just need to go and do it if it's the right thing to do. Take action and then learn along the way. Learning comes from action, not the other way around. We have grown up in an education system where knowledge and education is always given a priority than actions. And that's why sometimes we get into an analysis paralysis mode and we freeze and don't take action. But taking action is very, very important. Do not get wedded to the plan. Planning is very important, but the plan is designed to change with every passing second of your life. So don't get wedded to the plan. Make sure that your goal is steady and your plans evolve as you head towards your goal. Think about your goal like a GPS, right? Do you start driving without knowing where you're going? You put an address in your GPS and then you start driving in your phone or in your car or truck, whatever you drive. The same thing with your life. If you don't have a goal, how do you know where you're headed? Something to think about. Results are your goals that you're trying to achieve, your dreams, your purpose. The more clarity you have, the more easier for you to achieve your goal. You have to be intentional about it. Energy flows where focus goes. Focus comes only when you're intentional about it. So this is the raft model that you need to be aware of, that will allow you to achieve anything. And guys, I'm going to now show you the science behind this. Okay. This is not some motivational speech. There is a lot of science behind it. And I'm not a doctor. I'm an engineer. And what motivates me is to find the why behind why certain things work the way they do. And I'm going to share with you some of the scientific findings that I've found over the last 5 years. Now, one of the misconceptions is has been for a long time that human intelligence is fixed, and we cannot increase our human intelligence. Now, that is wrong. The science of neuroplasticity, which is fairly decent science, I mean, about 30-40 years old, has proven that our brains rewire themselves every second. Actually, your brain is rewiring right now as you listen to my presentation. We have a new brain every 5 years. Actually, there are a lot of TED talks about neuroplasticity. You can look at that as well. Another misconception that we have is that our genetic makeup decides how smart we are and how healthy we can live. Basically, what we inherit from our parents in terms of genes. Absolutely false. Epigenetics is a new science about 12 years old. And this science has proven that only 5% of what we inherit has an impact on our life. So we believe, if my parents or my grandparents are diabetic or if they have cholesterol problems, so will I. That is true only 5% of the time. 95% of the time, your environment decides what genes are expressed and suppressed. Okay, your environment decides that. So what you expose yourself to decides whether you become diabetic or become cancerous, right? It is not your parents. So you got to stop blaming your genes and start taking action. And this is all true at a cellular level. Genetic makeup, genetic memory is something very, very interesting. Genetic memory is basically, you look very similar to your grandparents, right? So your people may say, oh, your eyes are like your mom's, your ears are like your dad's. That is genetic memory. So we all have genetic memory, not just from our parents, but from the times when humans were cave people, right? The fears that cave people had, we still have those same fears genetically engineered and embedded in us. So it takes us conscious effort to overcome those fears and move forward. Personality misconception is another one, right? We inherit our personalities, right? And that is not true either. Actually, there's a lot of science behind personality assessments. John Maxwell DISC assessment is a very good one. And your personality is impacted by three things. Hereditary, of course, it does have an impact, but your environment has the biggest impact, and the role models that you follow has the largest impact on your life, guys. So I'll cover some more misconceptions. People say time is money. Absolutely wrong. Time is not money. Time is more important than money, more precious. All high performers know this. They know how to leverage the same 24 hours you and I get, and they leverage it to such a way that they become millionaires. And most other people don't, because they know how to use this equation. We have limited capability. Not true again. We are all designed to have unlimited potential. Our bodies is our hardware, and our mind is our software. That software portion is where you can leverage and exceed whatever you want to in terms of achieving what you want to. Right now, unlimited potential does not mean you can do everything in life. That is false. Unlimited potential means you can do a few things very, very well, as long as you can be intentional and focus on. So stop saying that I'm unlucky or I can never make it, because what you think you become. So you have to change how you make choices in your life. Whatever you have in your life is a choice that you have made. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about if you have become chronically ill with something. That's not a choice that you make. There are certain things that are out of our control. Let's focus only on the controllables, right? So that is what is very, very important. You will always get what you have in your life based on what you think. Everything in your life happens twice, once in your thoughts and then physical manifestation of that. Nothing in your life other than the uncontrollables has occurred in your life without you not thinking about it. If you're not happy with where you are, you have to change how you think and what you think. And if you want to grow, you need to continue changing that as well. I leave you with one last thought. And this is a success formula that I have created based on all the research. Your success is directly proportional to a multiplication equation. Your burning desire, which is your goals, dreams, purpose, passion, your actions, and your learning. Action is listed first, then learning, right? You have to be continuously willing to learn. The moment you say you know everything in life, you're pretty much dead. And faith and belief. Nothing will happen without faith and belief. The difference between faith and belief is faith is something that you believe will happen in the future. We all plan our graduations, weddings, vacations because we believe we are going to live for that many years, right? We have faith. We have faith in the future. Belief comes from what you have done in the past, from your actions, right? And it's a multiplication equation. Your goals may be very clear. You may take great action, but if you have no faith and belief, the success formula leads to zero. So it is very important for you to understand that you have to be all in to achieve what you want in your life. Any goal is achievable, guys. I'm not trying to inspire you. I'm trying to show you the science behind it and what I teach my clients. The good news is you are in complete control. You just need to have clarity. You need to make the right choices. You need and no reason for you to do all these things alone. Okay, nobody does achieve whatever they want to alone in their life. Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, all have had mentors in their life, and so should you. Your environment is instrumental in helping you achieve what you want. You cannot have a six pack if you hang out with friends who eat at McDonald's every other day. You got to join masterminds and surround yourself with like-minded people. That is the only way for you to grow. And if you understand the raft model and apply it, achieving your goals is not a question of if, it's a question of when. So with that, Srini, Julian, I'm done. I'll leave this slide out here. People can reach out to me at that email. Those are all my websites where you'll find all kinds of information. And feel free to listen to my podcasts. I have more than 175 episodes now where I cover all these topics in detail, and would encourage any feedback, any questions.
Yeah, great session, Anish. That really, is an opener, eye opener, and a brain opener for so many other concepts. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I'll stop sharing now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Anish. And whatever you said, that it's in our mind, it's in our thoughts, and you were. I mean, I met you as an AI expert with, and then when I saw on LinkedIn about your John Maxwell, it was intriguing for me that how come you changed the profession altogether, but you said you are doing it together. So anything is possible once we think. So thank you, Anish, for your time. I know you have a busy schedule, but you did take your time out. And thank you once again for joining us and giving us some thoughts. And, I always feel that it gives us a new one prick that, okay, now think about this, think about thoughts, think about the mind. Yeah. Thank you so much. We have anybody who has any questions, please put it there. Are there any personal sessions that we can avail with him? Oh, okay. Okay.
They can send me an email, Julian, at that email, and that'll be good enough as well. Yeah.
Yes. And we just want to remind that when we have a topic, we give these topics just as, and when we get feedback from attendees or audiences that we want more on that topic, we'll have those speakers for 1 hour session later in the year. Okay. Thank you so much, Anish, once again. So, our next speaker would be Brian Helfer, and his topic for today is global trade management in today's digital world, and he will be covering knowing your global trade management in today's marketplace, discovering your business and government's trade requirements, designing your export and import trade processes within your company, and supporting your business partners with supply chain solution. So a little bit about Brian. So Brian Helfer has over 20 years supporting global supply chain logistics and trade compliance automation. He has worked with multinational manufacturers, distributors, and logistics providers across multiple industries, helping design, implement, and manage global sourcing, purchasing, sales, and logistics. Project results have continually helped clients decrease compliance risk, landed costs, and days sales outstanding, which has increased productivity and profitability. So one interesting fact about Brian would be that when I spoke to him, he was the one who said, oh, what is it about? What is this ZIPINAR? And as soon as he went to our website, he got so motivated and he liked it that he not only agreed to do be speaker for 1 day, and he said that I can do a full series. So thank you, Brian, for that generosity of your time, of your knowledge. And we definitely want our feedback from you, audience, that if you want his session in a series, then do please let us know. You can email us at webinar@letustalkit.com, or you can even visit our website and give us your feedback. With that, it's an absolute honor to have you, Brian. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Humbled to be here. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not sure if I'm showing my ugly face as well, or can people see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Brian Helfer. I hail out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which I have Global Resources Management Incorporated, and we have a couple of partners around the globe. We focus on the back office operations where corporations would be calling us to support them in a myriad of different business and IT processes to help them with government compliance of moving goods cross-border, or in some countries, dealing with provinces and state laws, rules, and regulations. So what I have to show you, maybe for those that are looking at a career, or those that are trying to figure out the different opportunities involved in what I call a coin term, global trade management, supply chain management, import, export, logistics, and those words, in my opinion, all dive down into the deep roots of the buying, or I should even back up, and I'll show you some slides of sourcing, procurement, which is buying, inbound logistics, maybe taking a bunch of components to make a pen and then reselling it and moving that product into an export or a resale of the goods cross-border. So there's a whole lot of details that have to be done compliantly within those governments that you're working inside of and outside of. So we get involved in this on a daily basis. Once again, name is Brian Helfer. And let me see if I can forward these slides. There we go. So this is an area that we could spend a little bit more time and slice up smaller, let us say, podcasts, if you will, or these ZIPINARs. I was very humbled to get this call and think it's great to be able to give back to the community, to allow others to learn what different people do, what different groups do. As I mentioned to you initially, we have a team that is dedicated to global trade management as a coin term now. Do understand that when you do Google or do a search on global trade management, you'll actually come up with some solutions that are out there that some corporations have coined that term. But it is, in general, a coined term, and it's used, in my opinion, to support the need for business and IT processes of your global sourcing, procurement, inbound logistics, sales, distribution, outbound logistics. So we have a team that focuses on this around the globe. And we do, as I mentioned, focus on the business aspects, and we try to take those requirements and implement solutions, software solutions, as well as business partners that are working with the client. Business partners as what you may know of UPS, DHL, FedEx, being carriers. Inside of those carriers, there's also brick and mortar warehouses. There's also the software that controls the time that they pick up the package to the time that they bring into their own warehouse, move it via air, ocean. And I can explain that in further details, but these are the areas that we're speaking of during this ZIPINAR. And again, some of the clients that we have worked with, and I'm just going to buzz through these more as a quick advertisement, if you will. But you know, from the manufacturers to the software companies to the 3PLs, third-party logistics firms, and again, back office operations is where we do all of the work. As you look around the globe, you'll understand that sourcing for a go-to-market decision, the increased laws, rules, and regulations per country, there's more electronic filing requirements that are increasing the complexity. Now, in some cases, you'll be swayed to a company that can do all of this for you, and that's great. Small percentage of transactions that are going will be controlled cradle to grave by a third party. These larger corporations, they need to take all of this in-house because it is a liability that is bore upon the exporter of record or the importer of record. The people in the middle will waive their liabilities or responsibilities. A lot of corporations or people do not realize that, but time zones don't matter. It's the rules, regulations per country that do. And that's something to keep in mind every time that you're looking at moving goods around the globe. Trade compliance overview of what we get involved in a boardroom perspective is what's considered the governance process, rules and responsibilities, the risk mitigations that are flowing through the supply chain. So these are things that we set up, is the compliance perspective of that supply chain. And we put into place KPIs and the tolerances across people and partnerships, intellectual properties, and information systems that move the data. I'll get further into detail in regards to this, but if anyone does have any questions as I'm going along, please go ahead and put them down into the chat box or even a hello. Be happy to follow up with you. But in effort to utilize 20 minutes correctly, I am going to breeze through a whole lot of this, at least to get everyone's brain thinking about the different details of global trade management, trying to size up where this might relate to either yourself as a career or your company, and the actual value that what I'm talking about might have in your day-to-day activities. Because somewhere within the company, you're sitting and doing work effort that has to do with the corporation's success. Most corporations are sourcing, procuring, bringing in raw materials. Most corporations are having to comply with all of the laws, rules, and regulations per country. And this is what we get involved in. So the details behind all of the governance, the risk, the compliance, the finance, human resources around the globe, the supply chain management, standard operating procedures or SOPs that are set up is what we get involved with. And the IT operations that are trying to take all of those requirements and automate them within their ERP system, enterprise resource planning. Could be an SAP, could be an Oracle, and governing all of these operations. So the executives and the management staff has to basically manage by compliance and work in confidence. And that's what I'm showing during that slide. A lot of the top executives around the globe that are working within global trade management as a coined term now are looking at logistics costs. They're looking at the compliance issues around the world. They're looking to protect their brand name, and they're looking to reduce their exposure, fines and penalties. Let me go off into a tangent here real quick. UPS driver comes up and asks you to sign for this box. You put your blue ink signature on a pad. It's immediately nowadays electronically sent back to UPS's headquarters or database, in which is then sending that signature to the shipper saying, we've done our job. It's now confirming that you've received those goods. You open up that package and you have a packing list. You go to your email, you open up the email and you have a commercial invoice. All of those data elements have been created within a system that has been generated to the exact things that I'm saying right now. So the board members of the corporation, the supply chain professionals of that corporation, and the information technology owners of that information must be dead on for what has just transacted with that UPS driver coming to your door and asking you to sign here. Not only have you received that product or a pen or a pair of glasses, but it's all of the data elements that sit behind that. The material that makes up that pen, the origin of that pen. We'll get into those details. But these are the main key issues that your C-level, your global trade management or supply chain professionals are looking at. And I won't read the individual words that I have up here verbatim, but I'm talking around them and it's yours to take. Now in the supply chain per se of looking at a non-logistics functions and logistics functions, we basically try to tear them apart. If you look at any product, it's gone from an R&D, research and development, to the material suppliers, inbound logistics, the manufacturing plant, distributors that are set up around the globe, the outbound logistics that is taking place, sales channels that those distributors are working through to get to that end customer. And let's think about the end customer not being happy. The end customer is going to go back through the supply chain one way or another, depending on how those standard operating procedures are set up, to deal with that plant, that manufacturer's plant. So these are the different key areas that we focus on. When we go into a client, some of the sourcing, procurement, logistics decisions are all based around countries' laws, rules, and regulations, and their taxes, tariffs, and duties that they have set up. And I think a lot of people watch the news, and a lot of people are following different countries' governments and what those governments are doing with trade agreements. Well, we need to take those trade agreements and put them into a software solution so we can slice and dice the information that makes up the components within inside of that pen. Let's say that pen has 10 different components, and 4 of them I can source best in China. 3 of them I can source best right here in the US. I'll stay US based. And I'll bring all of those components into the United States. I'll do some assembly work, and I'm going to send them over to, let us say, Germany, because I think that there is a demand for this. My salespeople went over, they did the trade shows, they came back with sales orders. Now that's great. We're going to now send this pen over there. So if you look across that supply chain, as rudimentary or generic as it looks, but if you look at those bullet points on the non-logistics functions and the logistics functions, those are the key areas that we have to dive down into to support global trade management and provide solutions. When you get into logistics per se, what we want to do is take a exporter, a freight forwarder, a carrier, a broker, and an import or a buyer, and we try to slice and dice all of the information and manage it accordingly per standard operating procedures that that corporation needs to run by. So it's does go down into the weeds. I don't want to bore some people, as we can create additional ZIPINARs to address specific topics of export processes and a product's classification, a harmonized schedule of that product, the HS number, screening against the bad guys, deemed exports, the industry-specific rulings that you have to be managing for a compliant export transaction out of your country that you're exporting from. Determining the license capabilities and applying for the licenses, logistics management, generating the correct export declaration or export documents, tracking and tracing of the shipment. Duty drawback is an issue in which if I go back and I say, I brought these products into my country, I've done some remanufacturing, and I'm taking those products that I've imported and paid duty on, I want to re-export, I can go to the government and I can say, can I please have that money back? And they'll give you the money back if you can prove to them that you've actually imported it, paid this import duty, and you've exported it. But that means you're going to be audited. That means we're going to have to be thumbing through a whole lot of shipping documents from that packing list that I mentioned earlier, commercial invoice, export declaration, bill of materials. And in some cases, we're going down to lot and batch production reports to prove to the government, customs agent, that this lot that came in was used for this product that went out to Germany in a scenario perspective. The forwarder that I speak of could be a UPS, DHL, FedEx. The carrier could also be owned by them or subcontracted to be moved by a air, ocean, rail solution. A broker is a custom house broker, a person that is licensed by the government to clear X amount of millions of dollars worth of goods that are due duty to that government. And that goes into a whole can of worms, but this process all happens within days or hours of the transaction being moved. And then the import process. How am I doing on time? Have not watched my time. If somebody can indicate to me.
It's okay. You can continue. How long?
Because I honestly, I did not go through my deck and figure out the exact time. So maybe give me a couple of minutes heads up and I can wrap it up, and we can spin this off into an additional
5 minutes.
ZIPINARs. Sure. Give me a minute notice if you would.
Give
Don't
an
mind.
example also if you can. Yeah, it's a very good overview, and also you can give some practical examples and also size of the businesses or anything that you dealt with, like the small businesses, right from very small businesses.
Well, certainly. I've done projects from as large as $60 billion corporations all the way down to $6 million corporations. And I've taught in some universities, some side classes here and there, and worked with different entrepreneurs in trying to support their sales and export processes, as well as their sourcing, procurement, and inbound logistics one-on-one. So I do take on smaller projects, but most of our bread and butter, if you will, comes from being on and getting involved with large SAP projects, Accenture, Deloitte, SAP America calls me in individually. I'm also a subcontractor for SAP. So there's a vast area here that anyone can be looking at it as a career. There's a huge area here for us to be helping small and medium-sized manufacturers or importers, exporters, dealing with day-to-day activities from sales floor all the way to the back office operations of you sourcing, procuring, and bringing the goods in. Very quickly, I can go through the implementation of a global trade management methodology, if you will, of the export transactions, slicing the commercial practice against the compliance requirements, keeping the goods, data, and operational processes separate. This way, when we go into problems, we're quickly able to address them and answer and implement a solution. Even if that solution's just written documentation, step-by-step processes that Tom, Dick, Harry, Mary, or Sue has to follow on a daily basis. The same thing goes with the import process. Here on the export process, and I'm happy to share this type of information, goods flow, data flow, and operational processes that take place. Now, behind each and every one of these boxes, you better believe that there's anywhere between 25 to 1,250 data lines, data fields. If you look at anyone that speaks of a ERP system, enterprise resource planning, or a SAP or an Oracle by name, basically what you're dealing with is a whole lot of Excel spreadsheets with these data cells all married up, and the algorithm tools that sit behind working with Excel spreadsheet 5 to Excel spreadsheet 525. And it's the algorithm that grabs from that information sitting on one cell and placing it on another cell, or an algorithm to add, subtract, or multiply, and then to drop it on a document. As I mentioned before, packing list, commercial invoice, export declaration, advanced shipping notices, import declarations, all the way to inbound or in-bond perspective of a transaction that is coming into your warehouse. Warehouse delivery is what we speak of when we're dealing with an ERP system for the goods receipt. So again, not going to bore you with this information, but these are the different cans or subject content we go into in regards to regulatory or commercial activities. And then outside, you've got the environmental elements of the export compliance, the employee training, technology transfer, deemed export, the environmental being the government's laws, rules, and regulations that you have to be following. The above processes, yes, you're doing a compliance perspective, your laws, rules, and regulations that you are following, but there's a whole other data set or area that you have to configure towards. On the import process, you'll find similar that I will be dealing with or diving into during conversations. Again, goods flow, data flow, operational processes, and the design and publishing of the processes and procedures to be compliant with the governments. I tried scrubbing up some of these slides before I presented them, but if you notice, quite a few of them are numbered because that leads down into a whole set of consulting practice, if you will, focusing in on a corporation's requirements and trying to deal with business requirements and assist them in different departments or the IT perspective of trying to configure their tables to compliantly process the transactions. Another way of looking at this, and I'll wrap it up for the day.
Yeah, that would.
The global trade management challenges internally. So if you want to look at it from an internal perspective of the corporation, you're looking at managing, as you've heard me say, the rules and regulations required for cross-border movement of the goods. And that's going to be the product classification, license requirements, in-country security requirements. And a whole lot of this has to do with the products harmonized code and the business partners that you're doing business with. Are they on a denied, restricted, embargo party screening list? Excuse this slide, it's maybe a little blurry up there on the side, I think when I transferred this over, but you see some government laws, rules and regulations that are being controlled by certain groups. Every country has an export administration, a foreign assets, or an industry related, and a customs related organization or body. And they are following the WTO, World Trade Organization. Once those laws, rules, and regulations or guidances are created, they're handed off to customs organization, the World Customs, WCO, followed by the United Nations. And you'll see some different acronyms down there. In future ZIPINARs, we could be diving into additional content as well as solutions that may support your company's requirements. How's that for ZIPINAR?
Absolutely, Brian. We will be talking offline how we can incorporate and make it a series if possible. Srini, your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. You can. So, Brian, you can stay back after this live is over. Probably will be. I think it will be done in next 15 to 20 minutes, and then after that we can talk in this Zoom itself for a few minutes if you are free, or you can. Yeah, we can talk in detail. Thank you so much for a great session.
Sure. Hopefully it's been helpful for everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, we have to rush for our next speaker. And yes, Inziya, could you please share your screen and come on video? While Inziya is doing that, for our third topic for the day, we have journey from engineering college to corporate jobs, Unsaid advices and eye-openers to prepare oneself, get corporate ready and competitive. So you have heard from pros here who are in the industry for a long time, but right now we have a very young speaker. I'm so thankful that our young generation, they are opening up, they like to share their knowledge, and so is Inziya Dossa, and she has a continuous and diverse learning attitude and a keen observer for learning from experiences. We can't wait to hear from you, Inziya. Over to you. Absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is my screen visible?
Yes, screen is visible, but you are not. Oh, she has made a tagline, let's talk it together. Yes, so true. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I would like to start my presentation by introducing my topic once again, journey from engineering colleges to corporate jobs. Let's talk it together. So, I am Inziya Dossa and I am currently a final year IT engineering student studying in India. So over the years, the engineering course consists of 4 years, and every year I have learned something new, and I have always discovered something more about myself, and it also comes with a lot of failures and achievements. So whatever I have learned in these 4 years, I would like to share it with the upcoming engineers so that they can pave their path smoothly and well.
Insia, just one interruption. Will you be sharing your video or is it?
Uh, I prefer it this way because
Okay,
I have
no
some bandwidth issues.
Sure,
Yeah,
no
thank you. So my intended audience for this presentation is most preferably engineering students. They are the heart of this presentation, and I would love to target this particular audience. And particularly those engineering students who, as soon as graduation, they want to prefer working into corporate jobs. And yes, anyone who is willing to hear out as to how the 4 years of engineering go, and if they want to advise their friends, colleagues, and so on. Topic insight. First, I would like to share about as to what exactly am I going to speak about this topic. So on the left hand side we can see college environment, and on the right hand side we can see corporate culture. So what happens is, when we are in college, we are given a lot of resources to learn. There are ample and ample of resources given to us free of cost, and we just have to use them, utilize them, and move towards corporate culture. When we land into corporate culture, we find that there are particularly resources which are very niche. They are specific to a particular domain, but we have a lot of opportunities to learn and grow. So, to make the transition from a college environment to corporate culture, we need to make the correct choices and we need to manage our time accordingly, which will lead to our growth, and it builds a bridge between a college environment and a corporate culture. So the this growth which I'm going to speak about consists of two parts, which I'll be speaking in my next slides. And my objective for this presentation will be that I want to discuss some generally unspoken factors which are crucial for mapping our journey from college to corporate. So these are the factors or the tips that we come across very often, but these are generally the ones which are overseen by us. So today I would especially throw importance for these tips and factors. My second objective will be to clear some to clear some like to solve some of the myths regarding engineering. So as people know less about engineering, or if students are currently new to this particular field, they have many doubts and myths. So I would love to clear some of them, and I would also like to impart motivation for my audience, and I would like to help them so that they can have a clear plan as to how they can achieve their goals towards their corporate jobs. So this is how I've broken my presentation into pieces. I have currently discussed about introduction and insights to my topic. Next, I will be speaking about the growth aspects which will pave our way from our college life to our corporate jobs. It is divided into two: academic growth and personal growth. Then towards the end of the presentation, I would like to give two more tips as end notes from my side, and in the end I would like to answer any questions if my audience has any. Bridge the gap. So currently our students, I'm assuming that our students or my audience are in their crucial years of their engineering, and they have to make a bridge which will pave them a way towards corporate jobs. So the growth is divided into two aspects: academic or domain specific growth, which is related to their knowledge, their skills, and whatever they learn about their engineering domain. And the next aspect of growth is their personal growth, which consists of soft skills as to how they show themselves as a responsible engineer to the industry. So first, I would like to speak about academic or domain specific growth. So my first tip of the day will be, please students, plan your end goal after doing the basics. So there are many jobs which you can take up after engineering. For suppose if I'm an IT engineer currently, there are so many roles which I may wish to take up. For example, cyber security, machine learning, artificial intelligence also. So first, if I'm in my, it is best if I'm in my first year or as soon as possible, I need to explore all of these domains and pick the best one which suits my interest. If we don't do that, like yes, mostly students don't do that, and they waste their time into thinking that what exactly they want to what role they want to assume after 4 years. So this wastes a lot of time, and they waste their 4 years into not planning that, oh yes, I want this specific role and these are the specific skills which I would really want to learn. So, for example, as an IT engineer, if I want to be an artificial intelligence expert, so I would plan my goal. Oh, yes, I want to be an artificial intelligence expert. These are the skills which are required for an artificial intelligence expert. And this is how I plan to divide my time and learn these crucial skills. So that is what is expected first. The second tip which I would like to give is build innovative products and always have a product learning approach. Now, I would like to divide this statement into two aspects. Is whenever you plan to build skills for a particular domain, always have a product learning approach. Now, product learning, now we know what is project learning approach. Project learning approach says that instead of bottom to up approach, or instead of gaining all the knowledge you can and then applying them into building projects, you first start with the project, and as many and then you see what skills do you need in order to build that particular project. So in this way, your learning process is faster and you absorb more skills. Product learning approach says that yes, you do make a project, you do have a top to bottom approach, but look in terms of product which you can unleash in the market, or build a small prototype which can benefit a client at a small scale. So always make a product which has some innovative idea which can help the market at large, which is at some current trend, which is of a social cause, and which is creative. So now suppose if for example, if I want to be an artificial intelligence expert, so my innovative idea would be based on any of the COVID skills which I can address in terms of medicine, artificial intelligence in medicine, or artificial intelligence to um, detect what is a trend going on in increasing COVID cases, and so which can help the society at large. So if you build such innovative projects and product learning approach, so instead of just making an artificial learning model, artificial intelligence model, and saying, oh yes, this is my model, I need to uh, define some purpose, like, okay, why did I build this product? What is the use of my product? How will I design the product? And how will I deploy the product? So if you have a product learning approach, all these aspects are taken care of, and hence you become ready when you go to the corporate job where they actually are building products that are being deployed to the client. So you will learn that approach when you are in engineering years itself. So the next aspect of growth which I would like to stress upon is the personal aspects. The first and the most important one is personal branding. Now, what do you mean by personal branding? Let me start by saying a statement. People will refer you or will recommend you based on how you carry up your personal and professional self. So, what does this mean? Is you need to build a professional image of yourself. So people should know you by any specific skill or any specific trait or any specific quality which you are good at. Now, personal branding, I do not mean putting up your posters all over your um, so social media accounts or so. Personal branding in engineering college years can be as simple as asking your faculties creative questions, always volunteering for work, and so on. Building your image among your peers, always being the person who leads the group, and so on. The next tip which I would want to share is networking. In corporate, in the corporate life, all the opportunities depends upon how many relevant people do you know. So it is always important that you reach out to people who have similar interest as yours, or who have more knowledge and skills than yours, and you learn from them. Reach out to such people, tell them about your interest, share ideas and tips for, and if you want any tips, you can always share with such people, and this is how you will always move ahead. Communication skills really do play a very important role in the long run. Leadership qualities. Yes, in engineering years, when you build projects in teams, leadership qualities do play a very important role as to how smoothly can you conduct the team to achieve their goal, how well can you remove the hurdles which are faced by your team, how you can negotiate well with your teammates, how how smoothly can you solve an argument in your team. So all these leadership qualities also you need to be taken care of, that you build well in your first 4 years of engineering college, and always have a problem solving approach. So here are some end notes as a motivation to my audience. No path is ultimate, no journey is similar, so always be yourself. What does this mean is, I have always personally seen engineering students saying, oh, my friend is doing so and so, is taking so and so path, so this path is best for me. No, it is not that. Even if two people have same goal, based upon their circumstances and upon their mindset, their paths may be different. So don't always jump into the pool seeing that, oh, the other person is doing better than me, he or she is taking so and so path, so I should also be taking the same path. No, customize your journey and customize your path according to what suits you best. Always be consistent in your goal, take small but continuous steps, and always be yourself. Have tons of experiences and experiments. Yes, even if you fail, there is always something that you will learn from the experience. So always push yourself a bit out of your comfort zone every time. Have new experiences, join a new team, volunteer in a club, or or do any task which challenge your comfort zones. Come out of your comfort zone and you will grow. And always experiment with a new thing every day. For suppose volunteering or planning an event or organizing something, you will always discover any new skills in yourself which you may have not done before. Thank you.
Wow, Insia, such a short, powerful, take on, and I'm so happy to see how sorted you are, and your parents must be really proud of you, since you are still in, you're studying and you're what to do, and definitely not. And thank you so much for such an, absolutely to the point. No frills, no frolic, only whatever is needed. Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah.
Trini? Yeah.
It was really, I think it is a great help to, all the aspiring, students. We'll definitely connect, if we have anybody looking for such information. That's a great presentation.
So, anyone, I see somebody asking for something, you can definitely reach out to us, and yeah. Okay, so this question, I think from Rahul, I think it's for Insia. So he's saying he's currently looking for jobs in IT sector. Can you please tell me something on how I can crack interviews for the same? It would be really helpful if you can share your experience. Insia, you want to take that?
Yes, sure, ma'am. Um Hi, Rahul. So I see that you're from India too, and looking for jobs in IT sector. So I guess we are on the same page, and from my experiences, I can give you some tips which will definitely help you to crack interviews. So the first and the foremost thing is that your communication skills should be very clear. Yes, we all do have flaws in the same, and this aspect is a continuous learning process. So what you can do is stand in front of the mirror and always practice the way you speak, your tone, and if you stop while speaking, just like I do sometimes right now. And the second most important thing would be just go on LinkedIn and look at the profiles of those who are currently working in the similar field as yours. Look out for the skills which they have and try to bring it out the same in you. And yes, this will definitely take a lot of time, but this is a decent approach.
Yes, absolutely. Fair enough. And it was spot on that yes, communication is important, and that practice, making it perfect, is also important as well. So anyone has any other question, you can put it in the chat or unmute yourself and ask. And if not, then yes, as Srini said, but Brian, if you can stay back after the session is over, then that would be, we can talk offline. And for others, thank you all for joining in for today's session. And don't forget to join us back next Wednesday from 12 to 1 p.m. EST. We work hard for the whole week to get speakers with different topics, different interests, and making the most out of the minutes and you spent with us. So this is our new way of giving back to the community. Every Wednesday, we have our professional webinars, and then we have our youth webinars every alternate Friday for a younger group from 6 to 11 years old. And then we have the live webinars on Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. EST. And for those of you who wants to join those webinars, you can email us at webinar@letustalkit.com. And for this week, we have our older youth group topic as virtues and values. It's very important for the kids to know and for us to remind ourselves what we were taught, how we were grown up knowing those values and virtues which are important, integrity being the most important of them all. And yes, if you have your suggestions, your comments, feedback, please do leave those in the YouTube comment section or Facebook, and we'll get back to you. Yes, somebody was saying something.
Oh, what about the younger youth group?
Yes, the younger youth group will have their session the week after this. And their topic they chose was places of interest in US. So their states, and you should see the 6-year-old can't even, sometimes they don't spell the word properly, but they have so much of interest, and their topic is places of interest, those places they have visited or they have heard about or they have friends living. So yes, that would be next Friday, not this Friday, but the coming Friday. So that is their topic.
Okay.
That sounds like fun.
Yes, you should join the youth webinars, and the younger youth group, you should see their excitement. And one wonderful thing that has happened through this is, virtually they have made friends with each other. So they love coming to talking. And, the best part is that we see how their minds work, what they talk, how, when they are in a room, they not allow you to be in. But when parents, if they want, they can be in the same, when they are talking, they can be there. And usually I am there as a coordinator, mentor. So I see how their minds talk, their minds, function. So it's very interesting. So yes, they do have their prep sessions as well. They do not just jump into the webinars and start talking. And we have those on Tuesdays and Thursdays at different times. So to get more information, please email us at webinar@letustalkit.com. And with that, we thank you all our speakers today who did start, they joined 10 minutes before the session, all of them, and they stayed back even later than what was expected. But thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and efforts. Thank you. And thank you all audience for joining in. Hope to see you next this coming Saturday with the youth webinar.
Thank you.
Is the live off, Srini and Vamshi?
Who's all still on?
Vamshi, are you there?
Yes.
Are we live? Please go off. No.
Shall I live?
Yeah, stop the live.
I wanted to, oops, it's again going live.
I'm sorry, was that a question for me?
Yeah, so why don't you be the host, Julan? I think, can you take the host code?
No, I cannot. Vamshi, can you make me the host? And we are not going live.
Do you want to pick up another call? Do you want to get together on another call?
No, I think it should be straightforward actually. They have to just turn it off. That's it. So
I cannot be the host, Srini.
just give me a second. I'm trying to